Since when?
Just now.
When you lie next to me, I feel more alone. You can't get close to me or see what I have shown. So unconvinced you'll see, oh what a tragedy. Can't help but think it's over. You think by now I'd know her. I feel like I'm in love. I feel like I've been used. I think I've had enough. Tired of being your excuse. Tell me it's not too late. You'll be my last mistake. Can't keep my heart from bleeding. You've lost your voice from screaming. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down.
Yo!
What's going on?
See what I'm talking about? See, it does the glitch thing every time we switch over.
Yeah, it's got to be an information change.
Informational,
it's just a little bit of bits, tiny bits for a picture, and then the video it kind of has to shift gears or something.
Well, anyway, hey everybody, thanks for tuning back in to Van Philosophy. We've got a weird topic today. We're talking about aliens, which we know a little bit about. I mean, some of you guys, I'm sure, have like binge watched like Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, it's like pop culture.
Like I have.
Yeah.
Also, real quick before we get into the what's ups, we have shows coming up this weekend at Montrose in Somerville. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What are we doing? It's tomorrow.
We should be getting ready.
Why are we sitting here?
We're sitting here talking.
My drums are still set up. Anyway, and then we've got a show in Augusta on Saturday. So come out to those. Also, we just put on the books. What was it called in February?
Oyster Fest.
In
Atlanta.
Yeah.
February 26th. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We've done it once before a few years back.
10 years ago.
10
maybe.
years ago, something like that. But it's going to be really rad. If you're into that kind of thing, come out, come hang out. So let's get into what's up, man. So, like, what is going on with you?
We decided on the Patreon cover last week, so I got my tracks to you, and I know you're doing your thing on them.
They were trash.
I don't know if I got to do more or not. You know, like it's fun. I was telling someone earlier. It's funny like doing those things where it's like you have an idea of what you think it's gonna be, and then you might change it, and then you're like, oh no, I'm gonna go back to that first thing, and it kind of just it develops as it goes. It's kind of fun to just take the ride on them.
Yeah.
So got that, and been working on some booking stuff. I got to go over some stuff with you actually when we're done. Normal, just doing the blog and making clips. But I have been doing some writing, some music writing, and
is it also trash?
It always feels good. No, I think it's gonna be good. I think you're gonna like it. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what. I forgot. I went stargazing.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine has got this really nice telescope.
Oh, you went with that guy again.
Yeah, and I saw Jupiter. And saw a couple. And I saw a couple of the moons. I saw Europa.
How big is this telescope?
It's like
that big around.
But I was able to see Io and Europa and two other ones. I can't remember their names. But Europa is the one that has water on it.
Right.
There might be something alive.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Did you see any aliens?
No aliens, but I was kind of able to I was definitely able to make out the orange and white bands.
Sure.
And I thought I saw the spot. He was like, sometimes you can see the spot, sometimes you can't.
Right.
And I was like, I think I kind of see something there.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah. Sweet.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've been working through your trash of tracks.
The trashy tracks.
They're trash.
Fixing all my shitty tracks these days.
But it is a thing, though. When you have stuff like that, you're like not really satisfied with. Sometimes it like turns into something even cooler.
Yeah.
Fun fact for those of you on the Patreon, the honeybee video. The reason it got to where it was, where it looks like a comic book, is because we weren't actually happy with the footage.
Mm-hmm.
The footage was kind of crappy, and we were like, how can we make this really cool? We don't want to reshoot it because it's gonna take so much time. And I thought that was like one of the coolest ones we've done yet.
Yeah.
So it's possible that this one's gonna be the coolest cover yet.
That's exciting.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. But I did take a step away from it. Today I haven't worked on it at all. We've got the shows coming up, so I'm gonna get back on it whenever I get back home. I feel like that's probably for the best because I was kind of grinding myself into a hole on that one. Grinding it into it. But yeah, and like some of that stuff, with other things outside of the band has been a little bit overwhelming. Mm-hmm. But I did find my word for the year. Like we talked about in like the resolutions video and all that stuff, but I think it's balance. Balance.
That's a good one.
I think that's my word for the year.
I think mine's gonna be like enough.
Finish it. Also, we would like to say what's up to everybody. What's going on, Jeffrey, Rachel, Nancy, and Aaron. And Aaron says Uranus.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
It's funny. I didn't see it, but I think he did say that.
You need a mirror.
Neptune and I think it's Uranus, but it's more fun to say Uranus.
It's funner to say Uranus.
So we'll say Uranus.
Yeah.
I think they were visible, but we didn't.
You don't be a party pooper. Be like, it's Uranus.
Didn't get to look at Uranus.
Yeah. You can look at my anus anytime. Let's get into the topic here. The topic is aliens. If you guys have any kind of experiences, any questions, any stories or thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comments so we can get to them and interact and put that all up together. So as far as aliens go, man, what's some history? Some history? What do we got?
So there seems to be references to aliens in a lot of history.
Yeah, it's pretty much
even in ancient history.
It's like pretty much all of human existence. something shows up.
Stuff I found is like Mayan, in Hinduism, in Judaism. It seems like there's references to it, but it seems like a lot of those cultures didn't really view it the way we view aliens. We kind of view aliens like the movie Aliens.
Yeah.
You know, but they were, you know, it seemed like, or at least what they wrote about it was more of like kind of like divinic beings, or like these were the others that were in charge.
Right.
And so, you know, you have stuff like in Judaism, you have like theophanies where it's actually like, it's like a part of God that turns into a soldier or a burning bush and it gives you a message or something like that. So, but I feel like that's kind of sounds like aliens.
Well, even as I think it's even as far back as like some of the most early, like whenever we were like hunter-gatherer type, like those French caves with the cave drawings, they were depicting, and this is where all the ancient alien stuff and like the ancient astronaut theories and stuff come from. Because they would depict them with like these weird halo things over their heads and look like helmets, right? And that kind of stuff, even like statues of those kind of things have existed.
It's weird to
all
me.
of recorded history.
I saw something the other day that was like humans have only been writing stuff and making drawings for like 5,000 or 6,000 years.
Nah, it's more than that.
Is what we have like recorded. I think maybe some cave drawings are a good bit older, but we have been like us for a really long time.
Right.
You know, I think it's like for like almost like 250,000 years or something.
I think that's also if you don't believe in the Younger Dryas cataclysm theory, which is where Noah's Ark and all those stories come from because there were mass floods and like some kind of apocalyptic event.
And maybe
we're not here to talk about that.
And maybe there was all this technology, but it's all gone.
But it was a reset.
Yeah.
Something. Right.
Which is, I mean, it's totally possible.
Totally.
It does kind of seem weird where it's like, oh, history just kind of starts here.
Yeah, and it started at a pretty fancy spot.
Yeah.
If you go back, what was it, that Greek device? Somebody know what I'm talking about with the gears? It was actually, it would tell everyone like the patterns. It was like super complex. Like one of the first computers that were like, this should not exist. It's some weird word. I'm bad. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't know we were going to be talking about it. But it would tell like the cycles of the planets and the motion, like everything, how it kind of moves, and showed the ellipses and everything through this machine. But it was like multi-geared, and it was fine-tooth gears that they made, which we...
Yeah, it's like you got to have a machine to do that.
Yeah, like we thought that they were not doing that, but it's a thing.
Well, I found some stuff. It's funny you mentioned like ancient technology. I know like there's some ancient topography that seems way too detailed to be able to make without an airplane.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, you know, top-down view, and like I don't know what it would take to make that intricate of a map and not be up high looking at it.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. Like, it shows everything. Yeah. Even before like Easterners knew about the Americas, it was all drawn out.
And I know like I think like Solomon had one, the Mayans had one. It was like from like in different places in the world that seem to have no contact with each other.
Right.
So like that's kind of weird. The ancient aliens thing you said, I saw this thing where the chambers in one of the pyramids, they don't know if they were attempting it, but it works as like a hydroelectric system, where it's like if you just poured water in it, it would be able to shift things and create like kinetic energy. And
I've heard a few different things.
Yeah, and it's like, well, why, like, what's going on? That's crazy. That seems like that's something that doesn't belong with
the thing I was talking about. Antikythera mechanism. I think that's the word, because there was some weird word I couldn't remember. That might be it. So if you guys want to Google that later or have it in a little side tab, check it out. That stuff's it's wicked. It shouldn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so it's like you have maps and you have weird technology and stories and people describing like this thing came down from the sky. And I guess it's like, it could be like people are just writing stories because it's cool, but usually like you got to get an idea from somewhere.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of weird that it seems like we've always been thinking that way.
Well, not only that, but that so many stories line up. From so many different cultures that had no contact, at least from what we're told, had no contact from one another. And that stuff's bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like aliens have been here history-wise pretty much all of human existence, at least talked about, stories. There's no like hard evidence for those kind of things. There's a lot of convincing evidence kind of stuff, but there's also like some convincing stuff otherwise. But it's been here forever, right?
Well, I think too there might be like, I know in English when you look up what alien means, it really means like foreigner.
It means extraterrestrial.
Yeah, it doesn't inherently mean extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
It means like that it's foreign or it's strange or it's like it's something else.
You guys should have heard it before we started. I was trying to figure out what song it was. I was like, alien. What's that song? Yeah, it's Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Oh, her stuff's so good. Why is her music good?
It's good.
It's good.
I want to hate it and I can't.
You can't hate it.
You can't.
You can't hate it. It's good. Okay, so everything, Nancy, because there was no internet, because ancient people had a lot of time on their hands. You know, they did and they didn't. Like, it's weird. It depends on, like, what, at least in my opinion, it's like, what were they doing? So if they were having to work all day to make sure they've got food, water, and help, you know, like being more part of society, that the way we think, if it's like that kind of thing, then they actually didn't. Mm-hmm. They probably had less time than what we have, where we're like, man, I have no time because I gotta watch Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I'm busy.
Yeah, it seems like it's like humans act a certain way,
right?
You know,
like
it doesn't matter what's going on.
Like earlier, to all my magic folk out there, Kamigawa's spoiler something started today, and there was a video, and like I had my whole to-do list to do, and I was like, oh, and the video so I'm gonna have an hour. Mm-hmm. I've got to watch the spoilers, which the new Gen Cataxis. Woo! It's awesome. I know you're like, well, I don't care.
What?
Who cares?
What?
It's an alien.
What are these words?
It's an alien, man. But I'm super pumped about that. Anyway. So the history of it, everything's there. What are some like modern things that give us this juice? What are some like modern abductions? I know that it all, like most of our recorded abduction theories and things like that, modernly kind of root from Barney and Betty Hill. They were a married couple, and I think it was like in New Hampshire. I could be wrong, didn't write that down. But it was in 1961. They lost basically a day of memory, both of them, and it correlated with one another. And they were like, what happened? Mm-hmm. And then all this stuff, they couldn't figure it out. They were talked into going and doing a kind of a deep dive. And this stuff's kind of iffy, but they were subjected to like hypnosis where they can try to recover memories, and sometimes false memories can be implanted, so you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But it is a whole thing, and then it came out that they had all these visions, and they correlated with one another, which is really what kind of like makes it more substantial, is because they were both separate, but then came out with what happened to them together. And that's what we have modernly. But I mean, if you go back to history and stuff, I mean, you could even say things that were written in the Bible or anything historical like that could be related to aliens.
Like Enoch was taken up in a chariot.
In the chariot, the rings upon rings. I mean, like, let's just, you know, like all of that stuff can be taken in that way, in that kind of perspective. And Jeffrey, it is fire. Fire.
Well, so I found some things. It was from 1947 to 1969, there were 12,000 reported UFO sightings, and
that's reported, yeah.
So. But it was the height of the Cold War, so a lot of people were like, the Russians are coming and they got flying saucers, but the flying saucer thing in 1947 was the Roswell incident. And the reason why everyone freaked out was because the Army said it was a flying saucer.
Yeah.
The day it came out, they said it.
Yeah.
And then
they were very like open and transparent immediately.
Yeah, like that day. And then so it was in the headlines. Mm-hmm. All of the United States knew about it, and then the next day they said, no, it was a weather balloon. Mm-hmm. So everyone's like, what?
Right.
Are you lying? Or what's going on? And then they're like, oh no, we don't know what that was. And everyone's like, they're covering something up. That wasn't supposed to be said. So aliens are real, because they admitted it and then caught themselves.
Right.
So, and, you know, it might have been like some guy thought it'd be funny to say. Yeah. You know, and it really was a weather balloon. But, like, it caused pandemonium. And then for the next, 12 years, everyone's like, I think I saw one too. I see one.
Right.
You know, like,
but I mean, even that's correlating a little too much because like before then, people had seen things and also painted them like the history of everything, wrote stories, and every way that we were expressing ourselves, where it would be documented, where we could find it today in paintings, stories, and literature. They were seeing it back then too. Steve was asking if it was Reagan that said that he saw a UFO. I think it was Carter.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe it was Jimmy Carter that said that. Yeah.
Said that he saw one.
I could be wrong, but I think it was. I think it was Jimmy Carter. Huh. So like the Roswell thing, they come out. It's a flying saucer crash. Put it all in the news, and immediately
it was
takes
the next
those weird
day.
photos of that guy that's kind of like looking at him like really, and he's got like crumpled up tinfoil staring at him. Which have you seen like the interview with his grandson?
I haven't seen the interview, no.
Oh, where he's just like, it was a flying saucer. That was a fake photo. The guy, his grandfather brought it home and brought pieces of the metal home, and he's like, that's not what that was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like bizarre stuff.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
So I know, like recently, like last year, the Department of Defense issued a official report. It was in June last year, June 5th. Now, a lot of people, like they said, the government has admitted aliens are real, and that's not what they said.
No,
they said they admitted that the UFOs, that like the videos in question of the pilots that went, what's that? And you see it, and there's this like looks like a flying saucer, and it's moving all weird.
Or the Tic Tac dude that General.
The Tic Tac was in there too.
I don't know if I think it was Lieutenant George Fravor saw, and he tracked. Yeah.
So they did admit that those are real videos, and that they don't know what they are.
Yeah, they're like, we don't know. Yeah. We don't know if this is what, But and that was like one of those documents, I think we mentioned it like a week ago, maybe it was last week or maybe the week before, where like some of those documents are released and it's like everything's redacted too. Yeah. Like a lot of their papers.
Well, I remember hearing about that, for a while, and everyone being like, no, it's probably fake. And then people like dissecting it, be like, and this is why it's fake, because look at that, that's probably manipulated, and
Right.
And but then they came out, they're like, no, that actually happened, and it's real, and we don't know.
Yeah. And if you go and you can search this stuff up, it is really convincing. Some of these videos that they released and said these are legit. Here's what happened. Even like I think they were even admitting to like some of the events that happened in 1967, where there was a spacecraft around the White House. There's pictures of it. And they were like, yeah, we don't know what that was. It was there though.
Well, I know what kind of like set off a bunch of people was that it was Senator Harry Reid said that this only scratches the surface, because like Congress got the actual brief,
right?
And so they know a little more than the public knows, and he kind of came out and said like, no, this is crazy, it only scratches the surface, and everyone's like, okay, he's admitting it's aliens, and then people just ran with it,
right?
And like, it only scratching the surface means like, yeah, there's a bunch of these and we don't know what they are. Or it could be actually, Congress didn't know what it was, but the CIA did because they're developing this airplane. Like, It could be a bunch of stuff. But it was kind of weird that like that one congressman was like, oh yeah, this is crazy, this is nuts.
Right. But when you're trying to figure out like,
when you're trying to like,
what is it?
Deal with the public.
Aliens. It's aliens. So it's a thing. Yeah.
So they have not admitted that extraterrestrials exist.
Right.
Which like I remember people telling me that, they're like, well, how come we're not talking about aliens? We got all this other stuff going on, and aliens are real, and no one cares. And it's kind of because like they didn't.
Well, wasn't it weird? Because like I think it was slipped into the first recovery plan for the pandemic.
Yeah, I was like, and we're going to tell you about the aliens.
It was slipped in there, and it was like, okay, next year...
we're going to give you $2,600, and we're going to tell you about aliens.
And nobody knew about it, because it was like hidden in the bill, but that's where it came from. It was really bizarre. Jeffrey here, he asks, what's the best alien movie?
Oh, I kind of like Independence Day.
Of course you'd like Independence
I love
Day.
it. Welcome to Earth.
I think if I'm looking for goofy, I think Mars Attacks is the best ever. That or Galaxy Quest.
I would say someone said Galaxy Quest. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
That movie's so good.
Yeah, but also just like the Aliens movies, man. Like, those are killer. Strong Woman, Ridley coming in. You know what I mean? It's killer.
I'm trying to think if there's any other Alien movie where I'm like, yeah, that one's awesome. You remember Cloverfield?
Yeah.
It was like a POV movie.
I think so.
I remember like it was a time when like
It's been a while.
when POV movies were cool, like Blair Witch Project,
Right.
and Cloverfield.
Yeah.
And it was like you were kind of like, this is dumb, but you wanted to keep watching it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that movie was pretty cool. But yeah, like Galaxy Quest for sure. That movie's awesome.
My phone just went off. I apologize, everybody. I'm gonna mute it.
Turn it off.
Turn it
You
off.
know what?
I did it.
Mine was on. No one likes me.
No, you did. Yeah. Nancy says Men in Black. Galaxy Quest.
And Men in Black 2.
The movie Fire in the Sky. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
District 9.
Yeah, that's one.
Oh yeah.
That is one.
I have that on DVD.
Yeah.
And I need to go watch it.
Right.
'Cause I haven't watched it forever.
Now, we're talking about aliens and everything, but like, do you have any personal alien story? Anything you've seen something?
I have one. Well, actually,
does it involve Uranus?
I have two. And
Okay.
one's quick.
Sit back, children, as I gather my story.
I'll tell you what. Me and my friends, we were playing Capture the Flag late at night, really dark, and it was on a friend's property, and they had like next to the barn you have like a street lamp, like a gas light,
Right.
and that was basically like the only light, and then like the house, and we were out in the woods, so it was like very low light, little bit of stars, and we're like sneaking through the woods, and looking to like, oh, we think the flag's over there, and we're trying to stay really quiet, and then we see these three like hooded figures, just like standing there.
Right.
And I think there's three of us, and I'm like, is that the other team? Like, someone put hoods on? And I was like, no, those things are like, they're kind of big, because we're all kids, and we're like, they're pretty tall.
Right.
And
were all the kids that were there present, or there were other kids that were there?
well, like, we were playing Capture the Flag, so everyone's like hiding in the woods, and like we kind of like teamed up.
Okay.
So it was two other people.
Could it have been the other team?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because like we were like kind of like scared. We're like, what is that? It's like it also looked like Nazgul from Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Like looked really weird. And we're like, maybe this is an optical illusion. And I was like, it doesn't really seem like someone standing there. But we see these figures standing there.
Right.
And we're all telling each other we're crazy. We're like, no. We're like, well, maybe it's someone. Like, maybe someone like got stilts in a costume or something. We're like, who the fuck's gonna do that? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
no. And we're sitting there like, we're like, is it a weird shadow effect? So we're like, okay, let's like, we'd sneak around to the other side, and they would seem like they did this.
Oh,
So
right.
it was like it was like watching like 2D in a 3D world.
Yeah.
Like it was weird, and we're like, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw a rock at it. And they're like, don't fucking throw a rock at it. They're like, we're gonna get sucked into some weird portal because these things are watching us.
Right.
And like, it was really weird and really scary. And we're trying to think like what it was, and I have no idea. But
Right.
I was like, we're looking at it, and we're all talking to each other, being like, you see that, right?
Yeah. Nancy here
Yeah.
says that it could have been a weather balloon. So
Yeah, this wasn't a weather balloon.
That's what we're reporting. I mean, it could have been swamp
This was
gas.
something weird.
It could have been swamp gas reflecting on the moon. That's possible as well. It's a whole thing.
I thought maybe like that it was like a weird shadow.
Yeah.
But we were like looking at the light sources, and we're like, no, a shadow wouldn't cast straight up in the air with nothing behind it.
By the way, sorry for the buffer here, guys. Earlier, we had some weird internet issues. We actually weren't going to stream, and then I got it back. We lost connection for a second, but we're back, so we're good.
Weird
I'm
things
sorry.
happen in Wisconsin. It was in Wisconsin. It's back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
They were cheese aliens.
It was weird, and if had I been by myself, I would have been like, oh, it's probably me just like hallucinating a little bit, or I saw a weird shadow.
There's those mushrooms I ate,
something.
man.
Yeah, like none of us were on drugs or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, like I remember it, and it's kind of like it was terrifying at the time. We're like, what are these things?
Sure.
And no idea.
It was a scarecrow. That's what Nancy says.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
But I feel like if it was a scarecrow, when we went to the other side, we would have had like a different point of reference.
Right. That is an interesting one though. That you connect that with not some kind of like ghost or apparition. You connect that with aliens. It's interesting.
Well, we didn't know. I mean, we're like, could be a ghost, could be an alien, could be a demon. We're like, it's something weird. It's foreign.
You're all high on fertilizer.
Foreign to me. You know what I mean? Like.
Right. You said you had another one. You had 2 stories.
So the other one is not as exciting, but it was...
That one was exciting? This one's less exciting than that one?
Well, I guess like I wasn't terrified. So it was like one of our first times on the road.
Yeah.
And it was when I think like Jeff was with us maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe like Bob or Pete. We had a bass player. And I think we were like taking turns driving with the Roadmaster and the pull trailer. And I remember like it was my turn to sleep in the back. So I was like, I'm gonna go crawl in the back and lay down, for the last hour of the ride. And I kind of closed my eyes, and I remember looking up, and I saw this weird glowing orb, and it like was moving moving this way, and then I didn't see it, and then it was over here, and then it moved again, and I was like, God, I just saw a UFO! Yeah. But that could have been a weather balloon, because I know they do like have a light that turns on, and then if they move directions, you don't see it,
right.
And then it turns on again, and it seems like it's over here now.
Could have been edibles.
So yeah, it could have been edibles. definitely could have been edibles for sure.
If Jeff was with you, it was definitely alien. Rebecca says, yeah, it's true.
You got some stories?
Yeah, I got one main one because it kind of correlates with like the release papers and the videos. Because like whenever that stuff came out, to me it was a big deal. Like okay, so kind of set the scene. I was probably like 17, maybe 18, somewhere in there, years old. I was on my way down, heading towards town on an alternate highway. You know the one I'm talking about. It's alternate. And I was on my way. I used to drive this old '87 Honda Accord. It had the little flip lights. It was super cool. It was futuristic. Yeah. And I was driving, and I felt like this thing. I saw this like shadow kind of thing come over me. This is like nighttime, but like I felt like kind of the lights get blocked back here because it was like. From my tail lights, you can kind of tell, like,
yeah, you see like the little glow.
Something kind of here.
Yeah.
And then it comes down over the car, and like there's something over the car. And I'm freaking out, right? I'm like wigging out, like I'm turning. I hit the brakes, and I'm like shaking.
Did it like touch the car,
no.
Or it's just like hovering over?
It's just over the car, and I pull over, and then it goes away. And whenever I saw it go away, it was a triangle. It had the same light configuration that a lot of these videos that they released were. These triangle-shaped craft. So it had hovered over my car, freaked me the crap out, and I'm like pulling over like scared, shaking, and like what do you do? So like I remember that for a long time, and like I had to be something else. Was I making it up? You know what I mean? Like you try to,
you try to rationalize it. You're like, no, like that does not happen.
Yeah. So like for years and years that happened. And then whenever those videos started coming out, I was like, that's what I saw.
That's what I saw. That one.
That one. It was that.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that was really bizarre. But yeah, I've definitely seen glowing, weird things you can't really explain. But I always kind of chalk those up.
Yeah, because it's like, well, there's.
But glowing orbs, I think, are a big thing. If you guys do a little Google foo, you can find some weird glowy orbs that are doing some bizarre stuff.
That reminds me of the when he's like, glow, baby. Glow. He puts the fireflies in the orb and he's like tricking the guy and stealing his money.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to like chalk those up. So, what did you say, Rico Bobby?
Animalians.
Animalians.
Animalians. That's cool.
That's a cool word. But we're buffering. Lame.
It's like all red.
I gotta give them. I gotta like call them back. Maybe they put a lock back on it. Bastards.
Oh, did I tell you what happened? So when the power got knocked out, internet got knocked out, and we're like, internet's still not back yet. That's weird. That's weird. And so I like waited a couple days. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna call them. And then I call him. He's like, oh, you don't have internet? And he's like, huh? He's like, okay, it's back on. You know what I mean?
Man, when you live in a small town like we do,
yeah, man, I was like, I thought for sure like he's gonna be like, man, yeah, the lines are down and those lines are buried somewhere and we're gonna be out. You know,
they're just like, oops.
It's just like, oh yeah, you did lose that. Yeah.
Huh? Let me turn that back on.
It's back on.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I was like, I could have called like 3 days ago.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like with these stories, even though they're just stories, we're like trying to rationally trying to figure it out. It's hard to say that there's not some possibility of truth to these things, especially when you hear like someone like Bob Lazar's story, which if you haven't watched like the Joe Rogan Experience long interview with Bob Lazar, I think that's the best one with him. There's also
there's one on Netflix as well.
Netflix, yeah.
Man, it's the way he tells it's really compelling because like if you look up Bob Lazar, a lot of stuff comes up where it's like no one admits that he worked there.
Yeah. No.
His degrees that he says he has, the university says like he never went here.
Yeah.
And then like he was arrested for like some weird stuff a couple times. So when you hear that, you go, oh well, he's lying.
Right.
But you hear him tell this, and it's like, that's a really good lie if he's lying. Well, it's so detailed.
Well, there's also proof to back up like the counterpoints to all that he did, and that's because he has like yearbooks. He's like, well, here I am. Because it was back in the day, like whenever like taking away someone's like identity
was easy.
Was easy. You just go burn the papers, and you call them and threaten them and say, hey, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Something. You know, I'm not saying that's what they did, but it was easier to do.
Totally possible.
Totally possible. Yeah. Those are things that you can do to take care of that stuff, but like. Nowadays, like he has one of the things he's brought all this stuff as evidence forward, and like people have found it, like the news clipping showed him like where he did those modifications to his car with that high-powered engine, because he's told the story for 30 plus years.
Well, and his story is that he was commissioned because he built this weird engine, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing on Thursday? Why don't you come over and help us?" You know? And so he said that he was working on or observing an antimatter reactor that was powered by what they said was element 115 in the 80s. Yep. Now, the thing about element 115, what we know about it now...
Or elephant 15.
Elephant 15. Element 115.
Whichever one.
So what we know about it now is it's called moscovium, and it was first synthesized in 2003.
I'm guessing that was in Moscow.
Yes, in Moscow. That's why it's called moscovium. So its melting point is like 750 degrees. It weighs 13 grams per cubic centimeter. So if you had a baseball, it would weigh about like 6 pounds.
Right.
So it's not as heavy as gold, but
sure.
But it's heavy.
Super heavy element, yeah.
It's extremely radioactive.
Yeah.
It's very, very dangerous. But it's
radioactive.
Radioactive. But what's really interesting about it is its half-life is. It's like a little over half a second.
Right. Well, what they've been able to
do now, and all of those stats are predicted based on because they've only observed 100 atoms of it because it's so expensive to study, and you can only look at it for literally half a second.
Right. Well, and that's what he was saying was running these anti-gravity machines or gravity generators. I think is more actual like what it's doing because like. Anything about these alien craft, whenever they showed these videos, they've released this stuff, is that there is no exhaust put off. There's no like fire going out the back to push it forward. There's no kind of propulsion in the way that we think of it. What he was trying to say is that what's happening is it's actually creating a gravity field, so it just falls forward.
Well, and I think too is what like if he is telling the truth, it probably wasn't element 115. It's probably a different element, but that's just they're like there is no Elephant. There is no elephant.
He did it.
There is no element 115 right now, so that's what it is.
So I just want to take a minute for this clever little piece of gold here. Bigfoot is often confused with Sasquatch, yet he never complains.
Oh,
that's gold, man.
That's good.
That's gold.
That's really
Congratulations. You've done it. You've done it.
You win.
You win.
You win.
Yeah. Well, not only that, he also was talking about in the building, was it S4?
S4. It's like what Area 50, it's what he says Area 51 is actually called.
Yeah, well, there's that, but then the place that was housing these alien spacecraft that he was trying to analyze and stuff were in S4. And they used some of these hand scanners to get into the place where it would read the length and density of your bones. And people thought he was crazy, like, that's stupid. Comes out, it's a thing. Like, as time goes on, all of these things that he's been telling about for years.
He was very right about a lot of stuff.
A lot. Like, pretty much everything that he said has come out to be like, okay, or it hasn't yet. And it's something that's not super far off. But I don't think we're going to hear like, oh, our government has, or some private industry. It could very well not even be our government. They might not even know. It could be a private industry that has like all these alien spacecraft. Because what was it? He said that they recovered them from archaeological digs.
I think he was told. I know in his interview he said a lot of the people that were working on it, they would only tell a little bit of information to one person, and a little bit of information to one person, and then tell them not to talk to each other.
Right.
And I think he said he suspected that they may have been giving them a little bit of misinformation to see if they were talking to each other.
Right.
About it.
That's all it is. Yeah, that's true.
So like, I think maybe he said like, they said like it could be extraterrestrial or whatever it was, but I think it was like he didn't know what he was working on. He was just trying to figure out this technology because, it could have been like, oh, we found this in Russia, or something, like it's not alien technology, it's our enemy's technology, and we're in huge trouble if we don't figure this out.
Hey, Rufus.
Which, to me, stuff like that, I tend to think that that's a little more believable because, like, you would... common sense says to do that. Be like, oh yeah, these people don't like us and they got this really crazy weapon. We should probably figure out how that works.
Right.
But yeah, man, his story, like...
His story's bizarre. It's hard to dismiss that one.
Lazar's bizarre.
Lazar is bizarre, man. If you haven't got a chance, go check those out, like the podcast or the... That's old Rufus. Or the documentary on Netflix. It's very interesting stuff. So, with our own personal stories, how it shows up in history... the modern abductions and modern facts that have come out. How do we feel about it? How do you guys feel about it?
I'll let you know my personal thoughts on it. My personal thoughts is that in the stuff that we do know is out in the desert in the United States, our government tests a lot of stuff. Whether it's nukes or airplanes or how to manipulate weather. It happens out there because there's nothing there, and that's where they do it. So all the stories of like, they got Area 51 and there's aliens there and all this stuff we don't know, like all the stuff we don't know about is there because that's where they test it.
Sure.
And also with me is I went and looked up a couple things because a lot of technology that we think is brand new, and we go like, oh, this is this new thing, was invented a really long time ago. So like X-rays were invented in 1895.
Right.
And we think that, I don't know if we necessarily think that that's new technology, but it seems like it's a part of like the newer.
Yeah, I don't
like,
think
we can do,
new. I would think like early 1900s they were doing X-rays.
Yeah. Cell phones were invented in 1973. Do you know? And the first computer was invented in 1833.
Well, that's depending on what you mean by computer.
Yeah.
Because it could have been even much earlier than that. But I think that's the thing. It's progression of technology and where it gets to. It's hard to debate though whenever you see something so far advanced and that that technology hasn't advanced compared to 40 or 50 years ago when we've seen the same thing.
Well, I know too, it's like, like drones. Because drones can float all kinds of weird.
Yeah.
And the first drone,
using propulsion. Right?
The first drone was invented in 1916.
Right.
And then like the modern drone that we have now, they had in the 30s. So like that thing that you had, because up here, like, you know, the Army does training all around us and stuff.
Right.
So it's like, it very well could have been like, that's the new thing. That's the new drone. And they've been working on it for 100 years, and it moves like an alien ship. And like, that's kind of my thought on it, is that like, it's probably humans, but it's just that we can do really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And the general public doesn't know about it because, you know, like it was over 100 years ago, and I don't have a drone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, like, that's kind of my thought, is like, I don't necessarily, it doesn't make me think that the possibility of there being alien life is not a possibility.
Well, like,
I think that's totally a possibility.
Ancient, like, I don't know if it would be considered ancient, but like paintings from the Renaissance of flying saucers that they've seen, and then comparing it to, we see them today. If they've had it for that long, since the Renaissance, I would definitely argue with that.
But at the same time, I kind of go like, well, maybe it's stories from like, maybe there was a big cataclysmic event, and humans did have drones and flying saucers and all that stuff, and it was a normal thing, and then the bad thing happened, and the only thing you could do was draw in a cave, you know.
Well, this is like from
know?
the Renaissance period, so that would have been like, well.
Yeah, that would a lot later.
Or if you take the painting of George Washington, where there's the flying saucer with the stair ladder coming down, and he's got, you know, the what's it called, the Mason.
Yeah, that looks
right
super
here.
weird.
And he has the little thing.
That?
This is all over the place, so it's hard, you know. I think to rationalize it's, you know, like I can't sit here and, like, in my opinion, I can't sit here and be like, aliens are real. I mean, I do know that in, like, such a vast universe, you know, that I think that there's probably life
possible
out there.
Yeah.
Are they visiting? I think we would. I think that we would do that. And would we send ourselves? No. I do think that if we were to go investigate another planet, it would be something that is more android-like. It was like maybe robotic.
Well, and we have done that.
And we've done that.
Like, there's one of our probes is in Saturn right now.
Yeah.
Because that seemed like, I guess it was like the most ethical thing to do.
Yeah.
Was, this is going to break down and we don't want to send it flying out.
Is the probe planning on going to Uranus?
I'm sure they got plans for one.
I'm sure they got plans. I got plans literally at about 8 o'clock.
So yeah, I mean, it's like we do that, and if there is, you know, if we're not the only ones, and we've all have been evolving along with the universe, like, why wouldn't something else do it too?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, with everything, it's just like this. If you add up all this stuff, and I think it might be too, like, that monkey brain getting boggled out, where you're like,
monkey brain.
Oh man, the moon rings like a bell when you hit it with stuff. Are they stored up there, like, watching us? Are we just a TV show? I mean, I feel like we're in a TV show.
Like the Truman Show.
Yeah, if not that, like some kind of bizarre, like, Matrix-like world simulation or something. Because, like, man, something happened. You know, I don't know if you guys feel that way or not. Aaron says, I want to believe, right? Like, I want to. And Rico, don't laugh at me. But, like, if it's been going on since all of history, and we have documented accounts, whether it be in writing, cave drawings, like even like the old French caves, or paintings from the Renaissance, paintings from the revolutionary stuff that happened, and stories and events that happened recent that we know for a fact happened. I mean, glowing pyramids over that boat, I can't dismiss it. And if they're sitting there, like, messing around with all that stuff, like, if it's well beyond and it's us, then why haven't... I'm trying to understand the reason.
Nancy made a good point where she's like, we wouldn't live long enough to get there. And that is true. Like, where we're at with our technology is there's just the nearest star system, you know, with the exception of, like, if there's life on Europa.
Right.
Or if there's, I think there's a moon on Saturn too that actually it seems like it's even more capable of having life.
Yeah.
Then that's understandable. But yeah, the nearest star system is like, if you could go the speed of light, it'd take you 100,000 years.
Yeah.
So
what do they call that? The Great Filter. That's what they call it. That
yeah, or the Fermi paradox.
Most civilizations won't
last long
enough.
Yeah, even if you built this spaceship and we're like, okay, in 100,000 years it's gonna get there,
right?
And we're all gonna watch it on TV. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna get hit by a comet.
You know,
or
luckily,
something's gonna happen.
I did see NASA launched a deflection mechanism to an asteroid, trying to test if we can deflect asteroids a couple weeks ago. Did that.
You know, wouldn't it be weird if like that asteroid was not going to hit us, and then they went and deflected it, and then there's some guy going like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, if you go watch Look Up, by the way, on Netflix, that's also really good.
That's such a good movie.
It's a good movie, man. It's a good movie. I told you to stop laughing at me, man. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You think aliens are legit? You think that if they were here, would it be actual life forms? Do you think it would be... I mean, that's what a lot of people say, like the Greys and stuff. The reason they look so funky is because they're androids.
Right,
you
right.
know?
I remember someone saying that like the big black eyes are actually sunglasses.
Right.
Though,
yeah.
like, so like maybe they are organic
that
beings,
could be a whole
but
thing.
but they're used to like their star's a lot smaller. They live a lot farther away from their star. So
yeah,
they
Nancy
can't handle
says,
the light.
who built the pyramids and the rocks at Easter Island? Yeah, I think it's probably human when it comes to a lot of that stuff. Like Rico Bobby says it's here, slaves probably, and it's possible that it could have been.
Do you remember the show Wonder Chosen?
Yeah.
Where it's like, slaves built the pyramids, slaves built America.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like a lot of those things seem out of this world because we're taught that they were using like copper tools and wearing little shawls, and that's all they could do.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they were much more capable.
Yeah, I think they were much more capable. But like because if you see like some of these big stones and how like it's more advanced than what we're really able to do.
Yeah, there's one stone in one of the pyramids where it's like this would take 16 cranes to move in perfect sequence, and they would have to like walk over stuff. I don't think they could like get it into position where it's at.
Well, even the history of Egypt anyway, and I know we're not here talking about Egypt or anything, but the way everything lines up, a lot of people don't really realize. Like I know I didn't whenever I was, and it could possibly be that I was being told false information too, because I didn't go to Egypt or study these things or try to bring up any of this stuff. But the Sphinx was actually older than the pyramids. It was there before the Egyptians even settled there and constructed said pyramids and things. And the pyramids were like one of the first things, right, that ended up being constructed, and then other pharaohs would claim them or something. Well, and they defaced the Sphinx.
And
so it was actually a lion.
I think I might be totally wrong, but I think pyramids are prehistoric, where it's like we don't have any documents of them building it because they're older than we've been writing things down.
Right.
Or
writing things down this time.
Yeah, this time. Yeah, at least. And that kind of leads me to believe that we probably had been writing things down for a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe, it was on a weird type of paper that disintegrated, or maybe we had weird, imagine if this stopped working and people stopped learning how to build them. Mm-hmm. And like this would be gone, and there's so much information in here.
I can't make a cell phone.
Yeah, there's so much information in here, and it's just gone forever.
Yeah.
So,
Rico says here, I think cats and owls are aliens, but that's just me. Rufus here, coolest cat in the world, but he does some weird stuff. Have you ever seen like octopus though, or octopi? And those are some aliens, man. Those things are bizarre.
They can camouflage color and they can camouflage texture.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They'd
be like, I look like sand and I feel like sand.
Yeah. Yeah, but the owls are also really crazy though too, like the way they like turn their heads.
All the way around.
That's bizarre.
I have a story about owls. So when I was a kid, I was deathly afraid of owls. Not really sure why.
Yeah.
But I was so afraid.
Probably because you were a kid.
So my dad took me to like nature is like DNR rehabilitation. They find wildlife and there was an owl with a broken wing, and they were nursing it back, and my dad's friend called him and said, "Hey, bring your kid over because this owl really likes kids, and it doesn't really like anybody else, but it seems like kids come in and it kind of like seems like it's good for it."
Right.
So
please tell me this owl like attacked you.
No, it was the sweetest thing. It sat on my arm, and they're like, it'll give, if you rub its belly, it'll give you little kisses, and it would kind of like nibble on you a little bit.
Right.
And then you'd go to pet its back, and it would turn its head all the way around and watch you petting its back. And it was like the coolest thing, and I wasn't afraid of them anymore. But yeah, they're bizarre.
Steve says here that I can't say they aren't real, right? Yeah, you got to leave it up to. You can't be like, no, they're not. They're not real. So, Rico says here, I believe there are other worlds and life forms out there. We'd be stupid and selfish to think otherwise. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, how many stars? How many planets? How many galaxies? How many possibilities are there? Let's say it's 1 in 1 billion.
Still, that means there's like 100,000.
Yeah, if not
at least
more, because our monkey brains can't handle the math. But that's a lot. Like if it's like it's 1/trillionth of a chance. That means there's a lot.
When I went stargazing, I saw the Andromeda galaxy.
Yeah,
and it just looks like
coming right at us.
No, it just looks like this little blur.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like even a star.
Yeah,
it just looks like this weird kind of fuzzy blur,
which you can see with your naked eye.
Yeah, you can see with a naked eye, and through a telescope, it looks really cool.
Or a fully clothed eye. It just depends.
But I was like, that's a whole galaxy.
Yeah,
over there, and there's billions of them.
Yeah, it is crazy. Cuttlefish. Yeah, those things are weird. I know of a guy. Steve says here. I know of a guy that was killed by an owl. It came down to get his coin skin cap and stuck its talons through his temples.
Oh my God. I'm glad you weren't around telling me that story when I was like 7 years old, because I would have never went outside.
Like, they're out there. Man, that's bizarre. But yeah, so to wrap it up, I don't know if it really changes even like after all those papers came out. I don't know if it changes the way I feel. I don't know how you feel, but it helped a little bit. It kind of gave me a little bit of like verification, or it justified what I saw, and I went, okay.
Yeah, like I saw something, and other people have seen it too.
Other people have seen it too. Yeah. So I think that's what changed. I always felt like there was something out there. But I don't know. Aliens, man. Right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Okay, but real quick, we'd like to remind everybody that our merch is available over there on StoreFrontier.com/Roshambeaux. All sizes guaranteed. Lies.
You have to go to the link to find out what we're lying about.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple colors out of stock.
Yeah, that's it. But most of them are back in now, but they were out for a minute. But go over there and check it out. Go pick up something. Look sweet. Look slick. Mm-hmm. Get up on it. So,
what else we got?
We got our question, because we posted a little thing for in the Rosham fam about getting questions. So far, my man Steve has been on it. Steve B. He submits another question for us today, which is, and if you guys have any other questions, by the way, out there, put them there in the comments. We'll get to them. He wanted to know, what's the rowdiest venue/show?
The rowdiest venue/show.
Yeah.
I have one that I don't think it was like super rowdy, but it was like our first show ever. Remember our first show? It was like kind of like a house party show. Almost. And I remember that it was like...
Oh, is that the one where they're giving tattoos inside?
Yes. Yeah. They were these weird dudes being like, hey, you guys want to get a tattoo?
Yeah, I remember that. We didn't know who they were.
And we're like, who are these guys?
Right.
They're like, oh man, Jimbo's giving out tattoos. And someone would get one and they would just look terrible. Like, it would just look awful. Right. And someone's like, yeah, give me another one. Yeah. And like, I was like, I think that was like our first show ever.
Yeah.
Besides like maybe doing like unplugged stuff, but I think that was our first like, man, we're gonna rock out, and it was like out in the middle of nowhere, weird like house / barn / yard party,
right?
And weird dudes giving really drunk people tattoos.
And
it was a weird show.
Aaron says here Black Pearl, which some of those, man, did get rowdy, man. Do you remember those?
Those did get rowdy.
That, and I think, because those were the earlier days, that and I believe the biggest and craziest crowd was when we did that show with the Afro Man. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like at the boathouse in Myrtle Beach, and there was like, it was packed out. I mean, there was like thousands of people, and they're all smoking, drinking, loud, crazy, going nuts, dancing, fools. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun. I remember that one being.
I remember like they had cops on site to like for crowd control, and they all kind of like, I remember they looked at us. They're like, "We're all just gonna make sure that no one gets killed. Otherwise, anything else goes because we don't have the manpower to control this crowd."
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. The boathouse.
The boathouse.
See,
that's what it was.
Man.
Yeah. So that was a cool
time.
show.
I think those are probably the ones. Hopefully that answers your question up pretty good. We'd also like to take a second and also, if you guys want to get questions in, make sure that you go to the Roshambeaux fan page, join up on the group if you're already in there. I'll put up a post there every week asking about questions or anything like that. Even if I don't put up a post, just post in there. We'll see it.
Yeah, ask questions.
Give like suggestions for topics for every week, those kind of things. So get up on it. Also, want to remind everybody, that Patreon is the reason we're able to continue to do this stuff. The reason we were able to get our latest record out. The reason why we're able to do these music videos every month, doing the covers, getting the pressings. I mean, imagine like us trying to like scrounge together after like a year that we've had through the pandemic without Patreon. What would we do?
Something else.
Yeah. So you guys are legit, man. Get in there. We were talking about it earlier. We were working on the new cover, video. We do a cover video every month upon your request. We'll be putting up another request form here soon. God, all these requests are amazing that have been coming in.
Y'all, like...
They're great.
You guys on there, you're so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and every month, I'm like, I want to do all of these songs.
That's the hardest part, I think, man, is like trying to pick out which one we want to do because there's so many awesome ones that get requested. But we've got stuff for everybody. As little as $1, goes a long way, you guys. But if you want to get on the videos and stuff, it's the $5, and then $20 you get backstage stuff. $50 we do a monthly call. I get it, not everybody's able to do that, but get up on that, at least that $5 one. That thing is killer.
It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of value. It's way more than like what you're getting from most Patreon pages. Did a lot of research into that one. So, what's our wrap up, man? Well, I know Rico's trying to get us open for rehab.
We were supposed to open for rehab. We were booked to open for rehab.
That was when we did that Jimmy's Chicken Shack thing.
Yeah.
And they canceled, yeah.
And he went back to rehab.
He went.
Well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But
yeah.
So I remember we found out that they canceled and we're bummed. We're like, man, that would have been a fun show. And I called the agent and was like, well, are we still booked at the venue? Like, what's it? And he's like, oh yeah, you're opening for Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And I hung up the phone and called Jen and I was like, guess what?
Dude, I was so pumped.
Yes. Oh, and they were like really nice.
Yeah.
And that was a great show. I love that show.
Yeah.
And it was cool of like being so disappointed and then like really excited.
Yeah.
Like in the same day. Like that was cool.
How are things out that way, Rico, by the way? I know, like I said, we're headed up to Charleston Way, Somerville, and Augusta this weekend. And we've got some things in Atlanta and a couple other things around the area. How are things looking over your way? Let us know. But what's our wrap up, man? We got shows coming up.
Just
said it. Somerville, Montrose tomorrow.
Check out our tour page.
I got a pack.
There's going to be some other ones that are going to be peppered in and announced, over the next couple weeks. So
you know what this is? Shows. It's a little pepper that in. So we've got Somerville and then we've got Augusta on Saturday, and we did just confirm Atlanta for Oysterfest in February. Go check out
RochambeauxMusic.com/tour-dates.
Dates. and not spelled out.
Don't spell tour dash dates.
It's got a dash.
Tour, put like a minus sign.
Yeah, like a little minus dash.
Something like that. And then dates.
Yeah.
Or you can just go to Roshambeaux.com and it has all the little navigations to get you everywhere.
Tour.
Wherever you want to go. You can click tour.
Tour
right
dates.
at the top.
Yeah, check that out. You can also
click contact and send us a little line.
Hey,
be like, hey, I'm coming to the show.
Coming up.
Yeah.
So aliens are real. That's it.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. We're not officially saying that.
See, Nancy says she has her bags packed. Look at this. They're still set up.
My bag is packed. My bag's already packed.
I've got one pair of pants and like 2 pairs of socks in a bag, and I'm like, I'm not done yet.
That's what you need.
That's all you really need.
Yeah,
I gotta get all like my other stuff together. Like
I'm gonna see you like in the hotel room. You're gonna be like washing your pants in the sink. You're wringing them out and like hanging them up. And be like, I just brought this.
Yeah. Well, Nancy, Steve, you guys hit us up. Let us know when you're getting up that way, because I'm not sure what time we're gonna be getting up there. Hopefully
before the show starts.
I'm thinking it's gonna be
set up.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Do something.
We'll just show up with just a laptop and a goblet.
Yeah.
We'll be like, all right, we're ready to party.
Rico says here the Boathouse should be looking for acts for the Sunday concert series soon. Rehab is regrouping and getting ready to drop a new album and tour. Oh, okay.
Well, give them a call for us. We'll call them too. Maybe we can make it happen.
Might want to pack them. I'll make Kyle do it. I was thinking, Kyle can go home after this. And then when he comes back tomorrow, it's like, we gotta go. I'm like, okay, gotta pack up these drums.
Pack up these drums.
And then
you know what? And what's sad is I'll be like, all right, come on, let's do it.
All right, fine. No, I gotta do it. I'll do it. I promise. I recommend you guys to Danny from Rehab every time I talk to him. Thank you, man.
That's awesome.
Thank you for giving us the warm love, the affection.
It totally helps. Y'all talking about us to just anybody.
Yeah.
That's really the best thing. Like, we do these vlogs and we're on social media and we make music videos, but the best way that helps us out is like you just talking to your friends about us.
Yeah.
Helps a lot.
Telling your grandma, like go and visit grandma. Be like, hey, grandma.
Tell your grandma and be like, I got a CD for you.
There's these 2 guys. You're really gonna find the bald one attractive. And the throwed out one, he's a jerk. Mm-hmm. And
huge jerk.
Huge jerk. And they make music. It's not that great.
It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be right.
feels so right, man.
Just gotta feel right.
Oh, okay. Well, that's gonna do it for us, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys so much. Be back here again next Thursday.
Yeah.
Come hang out with us.
Let us know what we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I think there were some suggestions. We'll go back and look. But
yeah.
Make new ones now. Go in the fam, make comments, send us a message.
Right.
Hit us up.
Lisa Allison here says, that beard though. Ooh, girl. What's this? You ready?
Yeah, but it could also be like that beard though.
It could be.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? Can you expand on that?
Beard though.
That beard though. See, I'm thinking like, ooh, that beard though. But when you throw though in there, it's definitely more like the negative.
It could go either way. It could be like, I just stepped in gum.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that beard though.
Yeah, like you just stepped in gum. Oh, well, no matter the intention there, Lisa, thank you so much for being here and tuning in with us. We'll be back here next Thursday, and we hope to see you guys this weekend on tour. Come see us, Charleston, Somerville area, Augusta, Roshambeaux.com. Do it. Do it. All right, we love you guys.